Welcome to 5 and 5 from One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today we're looking at Cloudspire from Chip Theory Games. Quick disclaimer that I was given a review copy of this game. Chip Theory Games is known for its amazing production quality, but their designs have been hit or miss for me. Hoplomachus, their arena combat game, is awesome, but I didn't find too many bones that exciting, though I'll admit I'm definitely in the minority for that one. So the question is Cloudspire a hit or a miss? Let's find out and get to the list. My number 5 is a bit of a mix, and that's the act of managing the AI itself. On the positive side, the rules for moving the AI units and who they target is really simple and straightforward. And because of this, their turns are usually incredibly quick to play, especially since most of the combat is deterministic and doesn't require dice rolls. But on the negative side, the act of managing their armies and setting up their waves of units at the beginning of each round can take a little while. And when you get into co-op scenarios or the more complicated solo ones where you have 2 enemy factions to manage, it can get to be a bit much. But my number 4 is a pro, and that's managing your source to upgrade your base and your spires and purchase things from the market. Most scenarios will give you a bit of source at the beginning of each wave, and you'll earn more as you defeat enemy units. But it's a constantly tense decision of whether you use that source to upgrade your spires in the field, creating more powerful towers to shoot at the enemy units, or upgrade your base to increase the power of your own units. Then you also have the temptation to hire units from the market to shore up your army. You can even purchase new map tiles and change the face of the landscape and how the armies move through the board. It leads to consistent tough decisions every wave, and it's really fun just to experiment your base upgrades and see what cool tricks you can unlock. My number 3 is another mix, and one that could be important for a lot of players, and that's the co-op and solo scenarios themselves. Unlike competitive play where you can basically just throw armies together, the co-op and solo scenarios have very specific armies coming after you, very specific objectives you have to achieve, events that'll happen each round. On the negative side, some gamers might see this as a sort of solvable puzzle where you play a scenario once, you see what tricks it has, and then you move on. Also, it's possible gamers might have the perception that there's not enough here. You're getting between 20 and 30 scenarios and that's it. But for me, this honestly leans pretty far pro because first of all, the scenarios are really well designed and have a lot of interesting elements in each of them. Also, while there are a limited number of scenarios in the base game, it is very tough to get all 3 of the objectives for each of them. So I've found myself playing them 3, 4, or 5 times each to try to find which combination of units and luck and events can help me succeed. So if you're like me and want to explore all the possibilities possible, you're looking at least 50 or 60 plays here and probably a lot more. With number 2, we're back to a full-on pro, and that's the tactical positioning and gameplay itself. First of all, at a basic level, the combination of MOBA and tower defense gameplay is super fun. You build these stacks of basic minions and they pretty much autonomously march toward the enemy base. But the tactical decisions of that blind marching are a lot more interesting than you might imagine. First of all, you can move your units sub-optimally to make sure they reach the enemy at the opportune time. But also you can group units so that one shields another from damage until it gets halfway across the battlefield, or so that you slow down a really powerful unit so that it reaches the base at the exact right moment. Then add in your heroes that can move completely freely and attack and plink away at things in just the right spot, plus the spires themselves and deciding where and when to build them and where to set up choke points to destroy the enemy. It's a much deeper, more engaging tactical picture than I imagined the game could provide, but the core mechanics are pretty straightforward, so it is a lot of fun. Finally, we'll get to my number 1, a huge pro, and that's the faction variety in the game. You get 4 factions in the base game and can buy a 5th one as an expansion, and each of them does feel really different in their units and their upgrades. I hate to be cliche here and roll out the old StarCraft comparison, but it really does feel almost at that level. You've got the heirs who fly around the battlefield and can teleport right to towers and get a major momentum advantage. You have the Grove Tenders with fairly weak units but who can summon giant tree monsters. Yeah, it's a ton of fun and definitely gives me that rush of exploration each time I play. Overall, I have been thoroughly thrilled with my plays of Cloudspire so far. The puzzles of each scenario, exploring each of the factions, the difficult turn-to-turn tension and choices. And it's nice that it offers co-op scenarios too, although remember it's only for 2 players, and those scenarios do tend to be a little bit longer, so I might teach someone the game through a solo scenario first. Now the question is, if you're just gonna buy it for solo or co-op play, is it worth the price tag? And for me at least, I would say yes. The components are beautiful, the storage in the game is excellent with little trays for everything. And like I said, over the long haul, I expect to get 40, 50, 60 plays of just solo and co-op from this, which makes it a great value. But if you don't think you're gonna play competitive, and you don't see yourself wanting to try out scenarios multiple times to get the best win conditions possible, then you might want to think twice about this game. But for me, it's a big hit and one I'm looking forward to playing even more in the coming months. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.